Anthropic dropped a new Claude model that catches its own mistakes before you even see them. That's new. Uh, then the guy who co-founded OpenAI just switched sides and joined Anthropic to help build their next big model. Also in 10 days, Apple's going to show off the biggest change to the iPhone in a decade. And AI is the whole reason why. And then there's China, who dropped an AI that's 6 times cheaper than Claude. And that's just some of 24 updates. In other news, Elon just spent 60 billion US dollars on an AI deal to regain dominance against its competitors. The Pope, head of Christian community, pretty much declared war on AI this week. Robots have done something big again. And the craziest news, because of AI, you can finally talk to your pets now. This week has been wild. And just to top things off, I found a completely free tool that goes toe-to-toe with Claude Code and Codex. It built real projects for me without spending a single rupee. And I'll walk you through every step so you can copy the whole thing the second this video ends. If any of these updates feels too technical for you, just skip them. The timestamps are in the description, so jump straight to the ones you care about. Finally, my free WhatsApp community Staying Ahead gets every one of these updates before they hit YouTube. And this week, we're also giving away the full step-by-step guide for today's tutorial, plus a new surprise AI hack of the week, links in the description. Now let's get into it. Dot. Anthropic Claude Opus 4.8. Anthropic just released Claude Opus 4.8, and the biggest upgrades this time are not only a higher score on benchmarks compared to Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5, but also sharper judgment, honesty about its own progress, and the ability to work independently for longer than its predecessors. A general problem with AI models is that they jump to conclusions and claim to have made progress when they have not. Opus 4.8 is more likely to flag uncertainties about its work and less likely to make unsupported claims. It is 4 times less likely than its older version to let flaws in code pass unremarked. Secondly, it's got a fast mode, which is the same model at 2.5 times the speed and is 3 times cheaper than before. Third, if you are running a long task and suddenly get busy, you can type by remote control and Claude executes the rest on your computer, while you can solve doubts and handle tasks via the app on your phone. Fourth, they introduce dynamic workflows in Claude Code, where for the hardest tasks, Claude makes a plan, runs hundreds of parallel sub-agents, and verifies its own work before handing it back, even rewriting multiple lines of code. And finally, this is my favorite part. You can choose how hard Claude thinks. There are options from high by default, but you can change it using by effort to use a different level. Low can be used if you need speed and slower rate limit usage, as long as you still get quality responses. And you can use extra and max for tough tasks. So the model can think and act across sub-agents. Max takes more tokens. So Claude has increased rate limits in Claude Code to accommodate the higher token usage for these effort levels. Andre Karpathy joins Anthropic. The engineer who helped start OpenAI and led the AI team at Tesla has now made an important career switch that's worth keeping track of. The famous Andre Karpathy announced this week that he's joining Anthropic, and he's not joining as an advisor or a public face. He's joining Anthropic's pre-training team, which means he's responsible for the large-scale training runs that give Claude its core knowledge and capabilities. He will be using Claude to accelerate pre-training research. Let me explain. Until now, the AI race had one simple formula. Whoever bought the most GPUs and burned the most electricity won. More compute meant smarter models. But instead of only scaling hardware, Anthropic wants their own AI to speed up the research that builds the next AI. Basically, soon AI models will train the next AI models, not humans. This is Anthropic's plan to stay competitive with OpenAI and Google. Claude Code fixes Claude Code just got faster and far more reliable. Here are the biggest fixes made by the team. First, there's a new full screen renderer, which means your screen flickering should stop. You can switch it on right now with the command by UI feedback. Second, it's become more responsive. Before, it also looked like the screen was hanging when it's really just thinking in the background. So now it's clearer when it's actively working. Third, you will get fewer mysterious error messages. Basically, now you can actually understand what went wrong and fix it faster. Fourth, compaction, which is Claude's system to shorten really long chats in order to keep working without losing context, now shows you its progress live. So you should no longer run into prompt too long bugs which prevent you from compacting. Fifth, you can connect Claude Code to outside tools more reliably now through MCP, which is the system that links Claude to apps and services. Sixth, it's introduced self-healing sessions. Previously, an oversized image file could crash your session and force you to restart everything from scratch. Claude Code now detects it and recovers automatically. Finally, it's easier now to send feedback. When you hit by feedback, you can now just send over the previous day or week of sessions instead of remembering which session had the bug in it to me. Now the team is still working on improving Claude Code, so expect even more fixes soon. Dot. OpenAI Forms and Finance. OpenAI just ensured that you may never have to fill out another form by hand ever again in your entire life. All you need to do is upload a photo of your form, open voice mode, and just tell ChatGPT what to put in each field. It reads the form, understands every field, and hands you back the completed version in under a minute. If you do not want to use the voice feature at all, just upload the form image and type the details you want, and ChatGPT will fill it out for you. However, the filled form comes back as a static image, not as a PDF you can edit, so you may need to manually retype information in some cases, but basically, filling tax forms, insurance claims, or government documents, basically the most boring task on the internet, just became a conversation. OpenAI Forms and Finance. OpenAI just ensured that you may never have to fill out another form by hand ever again in your entire life. All you need to do is upload a photo of your form, open voice mode, and just tell ChatGPT what to put in each field. It reads the form, understands every field, and hands you back the completed version in under a minute. If you do not want to use the voice feature at all, just upload the form image and type the details you want, and ChatGPT will fill it out for you. However, the filled form comes back as a static image, not as a PDF you can edit, so you may need to manually retype information in some cases, but basically, filling tax forms, insurance claims, or government documents, basically the most boring task on the internet, just became a conversation. OpenAI just launched a new personal finance experience inside ChatGPT. Once you securely connect your financial accounts, you can see where your money is going, from your spendings to your investments to your upcoming payments. You can even get personalized guidance. For example, if you ask ChatGPT, "Am I paying for subscriptions I don't need?" it will review your financial data and give you a response. You can even ask it to be your financial advisor and review your investment portfolio or create a financial plan on how to buy a home, and it will do it. It can even handle travel spend analysis, spending insights, and scenario planning. And don't worry, GPT cannot move your money or see your full account numbers. It's been built to ensure your privacy. Currently, this update is only for US users because ChatGPT can currently only connect to around 12,000 banks in the US. Let's hope they expand to other countries soon. Burger, char, robotics breakthroughs another day. And we have another robotics update for you this week. Atlas Robot by the global robotics company Boston Dynamics did something that none of their robots have done before. It lifted a fridge, which is more than 100 pounds. It squatted perfectly, just like a human would. To lift it, then walked, turned its torso 180 degrees to finally place it on a table. The most fascinating part is it wasn't trained to do exactly this. It hadn't seen the fridge before, and it didn't know how to lift it. But it figured it out on its own after practicing for millions of hours in simulation. Petty Chat Pet Translator, a Chinese AI startup, just built something that interprets what your pet speaks with 95% accuracy. The device is called PettyChat. It clips onto any caller your pet already has and translates what they are saying in 1.2 seconds. And it translated it to, "Your cat is upset. Miss Narrow Pippi doesn't want that thing near right here. Pippi's not happy at all. Oh, alone." And if you noticed, the collar flashed orange and the device got the text response. Now note that the company claims 94.6% accuracy in internal testing. But fair warning, nobody testing can really translate what animals are actually thinking. So take it with a pinch of salt. It also has a feature where, when you speak into the app, Petty Chat converts your words into sounds your pet can actually understand. Over 10,000 people have already pre-ordered it. Let's wait and see how the responses are. AI solving math. AI can now solve mathematical problems. Back in 1946, a Hungarian mathematician asked a simple question. If you scatter n dots on a piece of paper, how many pairs can sit exactly 1 unit apart from each other? For nearly 80 years, mathematicians believed the best possible solutions looked roughly like square grids. But last week, an OpenAI model has disproved that the AI ignored the grid entirely. It used math from a completely unrelated field to build a new dot pattern that always fits in more equal distance pairs, no matter how many dots you use. The full proof runs 125 pages, and the most exciting part is that it came from a general purpose reasoning model, not even a system built specifically to solve math problems. So AI systems are becoming capable of doing things researchers may not have explored. Those same abilities will soon accelerate work in biology, physics, engineering, and medicine. Spotify and Universal Music Group, Spotify and Universal Music Group just announced a landmark agreement. Fans can now legally create AI covers and remixes of songs from the participating artists and songwriters. It works as a paid premium add-on inside Spotify T. For example, you could turn a Taylor Swift song into a lofi version or remix a Drake track into an acoustic cover. And every time a fan remixes a song, the original artist gets a share of the revenue. So that will become additional revenue for them on top of whatever they earn on Spotify. Spotify also has Sony Music and Warner Music in early talks for similar AI licensing deals, which means almost the entire major label industry is moving in this direction. The whole reason this deal exists is to kill Suno and Udio, who built generation tools without licensing any songs and are now being sued aggressively by the same label. Spotify just gave the labels a clean way to do the same thing inside their app. Spotify and Amazon podcast updates. Spotify recently announced two huge changes in its podcast feature. First, you can now talk to a podcast while you listen. So if a host says something you don't understand mid-podcast, ask Spotify and get an instant answer right inside the app. No need to open Google to figure it out. Then secondly, you build a brand new podcast from scratch just for yourself. All you do is write a short prompt like, "Give me a daily brief with local events, weather, and tech news." And Spotify builds a private episode just for you. You can drop in text, PDFs, or links, pick a voice, and even schedule it to play daily. You can even choose a two host conversational voice so the AI feels like two people actually talking to each other instead of one narrator reading to you. And this is not just limited to podcasts. Spotify is using AI across the whole app now, including AI music remixes and a new desktop tool called Studio that turns whatever you are reading or browsing into an audio episode. This might really disrupt the industry and affect smaller creators and podcasters without a consistent, loyal following. Cool. Metaforum app Reddit has owned community discussions on the internet for almost 2 decades. When people want real answers from other people, they add Reddit to their Google search. Meta wants to change that. They shipped a standalone iOS app called Forum, where unlike Facebook, you only see conversations from groups you actually care about. All you need to do is sign in with your Facebook account. The forum will load in your group's profile and activity and let you make posts with a nickname, just like on the standard Facebook app. Meta says forums feeds are centered on conversations within groups, allowing users to see what real people are saying, not just what's trending, and making it easy to pick up where they left off. On top of that, the new Ask tab lets users ask questions and receive answers compiled from discussions across different groups. Also, group admins get their own AI assistant that handles moderation for them. Although this app is available for iOS in the US only for now, Reddit stock still dropped almost 6% the day this launched. For .tech, Higsfield in Adobe Higsfield, the AI video generation platform, is now inside Adobe. It just launched 5 plugins inside Premiere Pro and After Effects. So essentially now, AI tools have come straight into your editor. First, you can draw to video, which means you can mark an element you don't want and it cleans it out for you. Then you can type in a transition and it will generate it for you, like this airplane transition. Third, you can name a B roll instead of looking for one, and it will create it for you, like this New York aerial B roll. You can even remove backgrounds, add text in different fonts, and even add elements to the video. The AI integrates it like it always existed in the shot. You can also increase the size and definition of a clip and change its aspect ratio for use on different platforms. The possibilities are endless. Try this out today. You can set it up using one free installer. Dr. Hall, Dr. Perplexity Computer is now available inside Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook. Because Perplexity Computer works as a wrapper, you can use 20 plus AI models from Claude to GPT for all kinds of work. If you are in Excel, all you have to do is tap on Perplexity's logo on the top right corner, give it a prompt, and it will execute it by editing your existing Excel sheet. The same thing can be executed in a Word doc, but here's something interesting you can do as well. You can move your sheet and doc into a PPT presentation, and Perplexity can make the entire thing for you from scratch. Look at this. Similarly, your Outlook email can even be integrated with these tools. It's an all-in-one solution for people who use the entire Microsoft stack. Brilliant.org, C, and YouTube labels, every parent and teacher has the same complaint. AI is making kids dumber. They're using it to cheat. But shouldn't AI actually help kids think? Brilliant.org just released an AI tutor called Cooji that gets kids to actually think. Here's how it works. If you're learning geometry, Koji can see every move you make. So it can see where you're going wrong and tell you where you're making the mistake. But instead of correcting you, giving you the answer like other AI tools, it nudges you, asks you to explain your thinking, and lets you arrive at the answer yourself. Then let's look at a coding example plots come. It teaches children how to deeply understand code and catch the machine when it's wrong. Cooji has been trained by experts from MIT and Harvard and helps learners from grade 5 to college. And even beyond, YouTube is improving their AI labels for viewers and creators. And here's what it means for you. Since 2024, YouTube has been labeling content when creators disclose they've used AI tools. And now they're making 2 more updates to make it simpler and more intuitive. First, they're making more visible and simplified labels for long-form videos. The label will now appear directly below the video player, above the description. For shorts, It will appear as an overlay on the video itself, and for content that is slightly altered, the disclosure will be in the expanded description. And the second update is that if a creator doesn't specify whether or not they used AI, YouTube systems will detect and automatically apply the label themselves. In this case, if a creator thinks their content was incorrectly identified as AI generated, they can update the disclosure status in YouTube Studio. YouTube is doing this to balance transparency with creator control. Perplexity Tokenizer and Bumblebee Security. Perplexity just rebuilt their tokenizer from scratch and open sourced it. And it's a big deal. Here's what it means in simple words. Before an AI model can understand text, the text has to be broken into smaller chunks called tokens. That process is called tokenization. For smaller AI models like small re-rankers and embedders, the actual AI computation is already super fast. So tokenization starts becoming a major bottleneck. Now, tokenization usually runs on the CPU, not the GPU. So Perplexity rebuilt that entire CPU pipeline from scratch. So now, not only is the CPU utilization 5 to 6 times lower, it's also faster than industry standard tokenizers. Look at this. It's 5 times faster than the widely used Hugging Face and about 2 times faster than Google sentence piece. The best part? They even open source the whole thing on GitHub, along with a detailed blog explaining how they built it. Perplexity just open sourced their internal security tool called Bumblebee, and it's basically designed to protect developer laptops from hidden software supply chain attacks. Here's why that matters. Recent threats on companies are increasingly around software packages or developer tools that modern engineering teams like Perplexity rely on. And if one compromised package gets installed on a developer's laptop, it can quietly spread malware onto bigger products. Bumblebee helps detect that risk early. Full It checks developer machines for dangerous packages, extensions, and AI tool configurations for month, and they have smartly made it completely read-only. It reads metadata files directly instead of letting the tool run, because some malicious packages automatically execute code the moment they're opened or installed. So it prevents the scan from becoming a risk. The best part? It's completely free, and you can grab it on GitHub right now. Elon Musk lawsuit and the Pope on AI. Elon Musk just lost his landmark case against Sam Altman. Musk had sued Altman and OpenAI in 2024, accusing them of violating a commitment to keep the AI lab as a non-profit. Instead, Altman quietly converted it into the for-profit company it is today. This is relevant to Elon because he donated 38 million US dollars early in OpenAI's history under the pretext that it would continue to be a non-profit. Musk's team now wants OpenAI and Microsoft to give up 180 billion US dollars, remove Altman and President Greg Brockman from leadership, and to undo the company's 2025 restructuring that enabled the growth of its for-profit arm. But on 18th May, Elon Musk just lost this lawsuit because the jury decided that he had waited too long to file the case. Musk said he would fight it in a higher court. Who do you think is right in this case? Comment below. Dr. Bad. Ope, Day. The Pope just stood at the Vatican and said something you should hear. Nuclear disarmament remains a service to peace and the dignity of the human family. In a similar sense, artificial intelligence now demands to be disarmed. He also released a document called Magnifica Humanitas, a guide on safeguarding humans in the time of AI. Anthropic co-founder Chris Ola was invited to speak at the presentation, and he said that every AI lab, including his own, runs on incentives that pull against doing the right thing, from commercial to geopolitical pressure, and that this cannot be fixed from inside the companies. If we want this technology to go well, people outside these companies, including the church, need to be its critics and tell us when the labs are failing and to act as a moral voice. In my opinion, it's good that the top AI companies are open to widening the conversation on the important questions raised by AI. Open Code Productivity app. Not everyone wants to pay for AI. But most frontier models have either high fees or a low amount of credits, so building something on them is not an option for most. Claude Code and Codex have become indispensable tools for both coders and vibe coders. Point. You can now use a free open source coding agent that has been blowing up online as the alternative to Claude Code and Codex. It is called Open Code. It connects to over 75 different AI models. And the one doing all the work here is MIMO, made by Show Me, which you can use completely free. First, why this tool and not the others? Claude Code only runs on Anthropic's models. Codex only runs on ChatGPT 5012 side. You pick one company and you are stuck with their brain and their subscription. Open Code does the opposite. It plugs into ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and over 75 other models, and a bunch of them, including MIMO, cost nothing at all. W unme is something to company doesn't dot kar ek too. So let's give it one job. Build you a full productivity app from scratch, and let's walk through exactly how we did it so you can execute this right after this video. Getting started is easy. You go to opencode.ai, and instead of touching the terminal, that scary black screen full of code, you just download the new desktop app. It installs like any normal app. Inside settings, you switch on a free model like MIMO, set the thinking effort to high, and you're ready to build. Now, OpenCode has two modes, plan and build. Always make a plan first. So let's type the prompt. First, I want to build a website for time management. Let's plan on building one. Tell me what features we should add and how we should make it for maximum productivity. And instead of guessing what you wanted, it interviews you. It asks what the main goal is, which features you wish to build, what tech stack, timer style, and what level of detail you wish to achieve. Once you make your choices, out comes a complete project plan. The core features, the design, the data model, the build phases, even the exact libraries it would use are ahead. So the plan looks great, but let's see if it can actually build the whole thing on its own. So let's flip it over to build mode and give it one line run sub agents in parallel to build this and complete the task. OpenCode splits the job and launches multiple AI agents all at the same time. One building the layout, one on the timer, one on the task system, one on the analytics. A little team of AI workers take all the tasks on the checklist off while you just sit back and watch. A few minutes later, it is done. Let's try it. Oops, the very first link it gives us throws an error. So let's run one command to start it up properly. And there we go, the app goes live. Just look at what this free model builds. It is called Focus Flow. On the left, you have your tasks sorted into projects for work, personal, and health, with filters for what is still to do, in progress, completed, or archived. On the right, there is a real Pomodoro timer with focus, short break, and long break. And you can edit every single duration. You can add a new task with a priority and a due date. And then there is a full analytics dashboard with a productivity trend, time by project, and your most productive hours switching between this week and this month. There is even a dark and light mode toggle. We executed all this for free. The cost of building software just collapsed overnight. You don't need a developer, a subscription, or knowledge of what a terminal is. You just need this one free tool. So if you have ever had an app idea, but stopped because you cannot code, this is your sign to stop scrolling and go try it, brother.